Welcome to what this is going to be scene 5, session 5 of Black Tower Tales following Nyx and Wiggins' Shadow Cloak. Last time, the scene was centered around Nyx climbing up a cave, or climbing up a cliff wall to get to a cave to get the loot she had stashed there from a heist she was involved in some time ago, and finding that not all of the loot was there, she still made off with a big bag of gemstones, and basically then the two of them set off into the night. I don't really have a good idea of what the next scene would be. Basically, they're just skipping town. They're just running from the bounty hunters that are after them. So I decided we're going to be bringing out a tool that I haven't used for this yet. It's a 6D12 system that comes from the Solo Adventurer's Toolbox. Basically, it's like a thing you would use whenever you go to a new hex in a hex crawl or something like that, where it has these categories like monsters, clues, environment features, NPCs, treasures, and random events that all have a chance of happening in each cell that you're exploring, and it's just a way to generate that sort of thing on the fly rather than plan out, okay, this cell has this thing in it in advance, and you basically can set out into a wilderness and find different things all the time. So they are basically, this is the day after. I'm going to say they leave and travel for part of the night, and then eventually make a small camp to sleep the rest of the night away, and then set off into the distance, essentially. And we are going to be finding out what happens. What do they find on the road as they travel? Or even, do they have a road? I think that's a good question. Are they traveling on the road? Do they find a road? And then really, that's the question. Do they find a road to travel on? I think that's likely, because, I mean, they know the area. Do they want to find a road is the better question. So I would say it's 50-50, because it's sort of a balance between, do they want to find a road or do they not? So we're going to say 50-50. We're at Chaos 3, so that's actually pretty low. So they only have a 25% chance of actually being on a road. But they do. So yes, they are traveling on a road eventually. And so what I was going to say is that if they weren't on a road, I would say it would be a sort of maybe a special wilderness on the trigger values for the 6D12. But since they are on a road, we're going to go with the standard wilderness column on the table. So we have, let's see, we've got the modeled has a 5, so that's not going to be. Black, which is monsters, has a 12, so that's going to be a 10 plus. So that they find some monsters. The clear one is not. The blue was a 4. 8 on the yellow is nothing, and then a 10 on the white. So there's some sort of environment feature where they find the monsters. So going back to the Solo Adventurer's Toolbox, we're going to see what sort of environment feature it is they find. Here we go. So we have a table. I wasn't sure if I was going to have to get the first edition of the Solo Adventurer's Toolbox out in order to find the proper table to be rolling on. But we've got this item here. We've got a D100 roll to see what kind of feature it is they find. Ooh, a 7. So they find a small castle. And let's see. We've got a way to be rolling for monsters, which I believe is in the first edition. So we're going to be getting that out. Okay, so since we have 2 characters, we're going to be looking at the 2PC conversion table. But first we need to be rolling on to find out what the difficulty of the encounter is, which it starts out as a D6. with a 3 is going to be a hard encounter, and so for 2 PCs we're essentially level 1. A hard encounter is the same as a level 2 hard encounter for 1 PC. So we're going to be going level 1 solo PC encounter. It's going to be a hard encounter. We roll a d6, a 3 to get a 1 CR 1/4 monster. And this is what we're finding in a small castle. So now I know I'm not using D&D. All of these CRs are made for D&D, so we'll figure that out along the way. But now we get to figure out what monster we find by going to the different tables for different areas. And since we're finding it in a castle, I'm going to be trying to, here's sort of a dungeon monster table. I'm going to see if there's anything else. Maybe not a forest table. Grassland, hills. Urban. Here we go. I think that's probably a good table to be using. So it's a CR 1/4, so we've got this urban monster table, and we've got a D20 to roll. This is going to be 11, the monster that so we find a skeleton. Okay, so... And now what I want to do is we're going to roll some information about this castle. So we're going to roll on the descriptor table for this castle, once on each table. Actually, no, I'll do descriptor 2 and then the location. So it is a 96. It is a useful. Two. It's useful and amusing on a castle. So a useful, amusing castle. Useful says to me like it's got a lot of sort of merchants inside of it. Maybe it used to have like blacksmiths and things like that. And amusing, that tells me that it's got a specific kind of craftsman. Maybe I would say it's actually this castle has a particular... So Nyx and Wiggins are searching out this castle that they found near the side of the road because it's an interesting thing to do. Maybe they're looking for a place... I'm going to say it's late in the afternoon that they've been traveling. They're looking for a place to maybe sleep for the next night. And instead of finding, a good place to stay, there's a carpenter's shop that they inspect, and it's full of some rusted out tools and whittling tools, but it's a carpenter shop where they were making like kids' toys, like little horses or those little horse rocking things that kids can ride, or like maybe they were also building little miniature houses for a young girl to maybe play doll houses in. And the strange thing that they find while searching this place is a skeleton. So we're going to set the scene. We've got Nyx and Wiggins there, and then we're just going to say they've got a skeleton. How far away is the skeleton from them? It seems like it's going to be pretty close. So we're going to say I'm going to say 1d4 squares away. So we have, draw a battle map real quick. So they're in a building. Let's say there's a door here. Maybe some windows. There's a workbench over here. A second door back here. Some boxes in this corner. Table. A chair for the table. And basically a tool rack over here. They're searching the boxes, I would say. Or let's say Nyx is searching the boxes. Wiggins is looking at the table. And let's see I got a 2 for that, so it's 2 squares away. We're going to say Nyx is right there, and the skeleton is sort of like, let's say the people who escaped from this or left this place had the skeleton sort of boxed up behind or against the wall in the corner, and these boxes were just like too heavy all at once for the skeleton to be able to get out from. But because Nyx is sort of pulling things out, looking around, seeing what's up, the skeleton rages into combat, and we have combat, I guess. I would say we would roll initiative, but we're not playing D&D. Old habits are hard to break, I guess. So the question is, does the skeleton go first? I think it does. Actually, I'm not even going to roll for that because I think that just makes sense. But the skeleton doesn't have any sort of way to... I'm going to say the skeleton takes its turn to try to push itself out from behind these boxes. I'm going to say we got target 11, so it's doing a strength check, and it does. So the skeleton basically pushes outside of the boxes and moves up next to Nyx. At this time, Nyx is going to be basically surprised, obviously, but it's just a skeleton. What are you supposed to do except try to fight a skeleton? So we have she's going to take her short sword out and swing at the skeleton with her dexterity. 6 plus 2, that's not going to hit. So yeah, unfortunately that's the way that goes. I think now it is Wiggins' turn. Unfortunately, he's a wizard with no wand, so he doesn't really have and he has a spell book, but he doesn't actually have any spells in it right now. What he's going to do, though, is he's going to try to find some sort of tool on the tool wall to use against the skeleton. So what we're going to do is he's going to real quickly... I mean, he's been looking at the tool wall. The question is there one there for him to actually use? I think that's pretty likely. Even if this is a really long abandoned thing, it probably something would at least have something that would be used as a club, right? The handle of a weapon. So I think we're at Chaos 3, but I'll say it's very likely. So 50% chance, 36. So yes, he's able to find something as a weapon. I'm going to say an axe is the first thing that comes to mind. So that's what we're going to go with. And he basically then sees his wife getting attacked by a skeleton, runs up, and does his own attack. This is going to be a strength check again, plus 0 for target 11. Does not make it. And now, well, the skeleton, the question is, does the skeleton have some sort of weapon? I think that's sort of 50-50. So that means 25 and under, 1. Not only does the skeleton have a weapon, the skeleton actually has armor on. So that's why they weren't able to hit earlier. Like we learned that the skeleton actually has armor on and is no, actually no, I think it's not the armor, it's the skeleton has a shield and a weapon. And I'm gonna say that the weapons is like a club with nails stuck in the ends. So the skeleton actually then attacks. Ooh, I forgot. We've got the Solo Adventurer's Toolbox that has tools for determining monster actions, and I think that would be a fun thing to look at. We've got the monster intentions table. That's sort of what you do at the beginning. So here, the monster... Actually, we've already established that the monster's hostile, so we're not going to do that. Round by round, we're going to do the reaction for the monster, though. 39. The creature uses its main attack. I'm going to say it goes against Wiggins this time. Target 11. 18, actually. Shit. So that's going to be a D6 for weapon effort. Ouch. Okay. So Wiggins takes 6 and has 4 hit points left. That's unfortunate. So the skeleton also only has 1 heart. But now Nyx and Wiggins both get their chance to attack. Nyx swings at him with her her sword, gets a 12, and that does hit. So she gets her own weapon effort roll and gets another 6. Wow. Okay, that's awesome. And now Wiggins again. What is it? Do they do anything special? No, I think it's just basically wham wham. 15. So they both hit, and he gets his own weapon effort. Another. So that's 3 6s in a row. Jeez. Okay. So with that, little quick and easy combat. They both strike at the skeleton, bashing its head off and breaking its legs, and it collapses to the ground. And that's the end of the combat there. I think. Is there something special about? I'm going to say, is there some sort of loot that they get from this? I think that's unlikely. But there's always the chance. Let's say unlikely. It's 15% chance. So 65. So no, they sort of search the skeleton's remains to see if there's anything special about how it was enchanted, maybe, but they don't find anything. And essentially, they use this opportunity now that they are pretty sure that this place is pretty safe and secure. They're going to take this as a way to a place where they're going to spend the night out of the weather, out of the elements. And one thing I wanted to touch on real quick is that Wiggins doesn't have his stiletto dagger wand. So basically, what's happening is he doesn't have any way to really cast his magic like he's used to. Because when he was taken by the bounty hunters, they obviously took his weapon from him, and he didn't have time to go find it wherever they had stashed it when he escaped. So something that he has as a priority for him is to basically fashion a new dagger wand. The question I have for the Mythic generator is, does he have a dagger that'll be suitable to create a new wand? Because my mental image of how it's created is he has to spend a lot of time enchanting, making inscriptions and doing magic things to this dagger to make it function as a wand for him. But he needs a satisfactory dagger to start off with. So I think that's a 50-50. I don't know. It could go either way. As far as, does he already have sort of a backup dagger in place, even though it's not, he wouldn't have gone through the whole trouble of making an entire new wand just for him to use on the off chance he lost his. I'm going to say it's 50-50, which really is a 25% chance. 51, so no, he doesn't have. So he doesn't have a dagger in order to start creating a new weapon. And so that's just something that he needs to add to his threads. So threads, missing dagger wand. And I remembered after the session was over last time, but there's a new thread created at the last session based on who it was that stole the gems that were missing when Nyx got into the cave. So missing gems. So we've got those 3 threads. As far as cast goes, we're nearing the end of the scene, by the way. I don't think really we have any addition to the cast, and that we already added some stuff to the threads. Yeah, I think that's the end of the scene. Did the chaos go up? I think that's sort of chaotic, like randomly finding a skeleton in a workshop. This is going to be scene 6, chaos, but it doesn't seem that chaotic. So I'm going to hold chaos the same, chaos 3, and then target. I'm actually going to put the target up to 12 because I think they're doing pretty well right now. That combat seemed a little easy, so we'll see how it goes. As far as that, I think that's going to be the end of the scene. Have a good one.